Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horror review. Right, this one came up last week during a conversation with some folks, so got the DVD, thought may as well give it a bash. It was suggested that I compare this to Willy's Wonderland, where if you check previous videos, you'll know I reviewed that one. Absolutely loved it. I don't think that's fair comparison, right? They're two completely different movies. So to compare one against the other, I think's doing them an injustice, if that makes sense. Just because I happen to have, animatronics, etc. I don't see, after watching this, they're completely different movies, and to actually compare them, like I said, you just end up going down this rabbit hole. I loved Willy's Wonderland, as you know. I love that craziness to it. It is a completely different vibe, completely different movie. This one is its own thing. What I will say though, it's dark. I mean, this is like proper grim dark sort of movie. So that's why I'm saying that the sort of bright and colorfulness of Willy's Wonderland, that sort of thing, you're not going to get that here. Doesn't mean it's a bad movie. No, it's actually a lot of fun. But I think you just need to put that out because you'll ruin it. If you're watching it expecting one thing and you don't get it and you get something completely different, I think it might ruin it for you. Fair enough. It's easy to understand making the comparisons, But Willy's Wonderland's more as a theme park / restaurant, and there's a sort of demonic aspect to it, where this is effectively killer dolls, killer robot type thing. Best comparison I make is Child's Play. When you look at the original Child's Play versus the remake and how that plays out, that's the closest thing I can think in terms of comparison, but even that's not accurate. Hey Chris, how are you, man? I was trying to remember myself if it was it a UK version or was it no, it's an American television show. No, it's an American one. Yeah, it was the late 60s. It came out I think it was 68 or something. Yeah, we didn't get to see that until I think later when satellite TV. It was something I wasn't aware of growing up. I'm trying to think what it's like. It was mentioned during the thing and I've forgotten that compared to the other show, and I think might have been closer. Now we had all our own stuff. I don't think, God, a horror version of Rainbow that would be something else. If you look up Rainbow, kids TV show, yeah, that would making that into a horror one. I'm starting to see a bit of this might be a bit of a trend as older IPs are becoming available and they're in the public domain. We saw it with Winnie the Pooh, seen it with Humpty Dumpty, now I've seen it with this Banana Splits. If horror directors snap them all up first before the likes of Disney can get hold of them and make movies like this all the time, I'm not going to be unhappy about it. When you see the likes of Disney remaking its own classics and just completely changing them, blah 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 blah, and not doing anything new and fresh, yeah, you can see where that company's in trouble. But this is just the what ifs sort of thing. What else? Oh yes, Scooby Doo. It was done with Scooby Doo when it was that more lighthearted one, but when they did the crossover with the Winchester brothers in Supernatural episode, they did a crossover with Scooby Doo. That was pretty fun. But they actually say, as you know, Scooby Doo fan, but seeing some of these crossovers would be mental in a proper adult setting. So, God, never given Captain Caveman, but he goes bonkers. Yeah, possibilities are endless, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is completely different tone of a movie. Now we start off. We've got wee lad Harley Williams. He's a kid, but how do I put it? He's not developmentally challenged. He's immature for his age. So you know that awkward age that a kid gets that most are growing out of their toys, but some still hold on to that and they pretend, or they're growing out of certain TV shows. But for others, it's still a comfort. And at that age, 1 year's different is like 100. Just as kids growing up, this is what's happening here with him. So Harley's still a hardcore fan of this TV show. He's Other kids don't want to hang out with him because he's completely obsessed. He's a nerd. What's the equivalent? The equivalent would probably be a brony, or I suppose anybody with hardcore hobby. But I think the closest thing this Harley would be is a brony, and that's cool. But he obviously hasn't gone on the internet yet and found other bronies or other Banana Splits fans yet. The whole premise, you see it in the trailer anyway, is it's his birthday, and I can't remember which one it was. That might have helped. Might have helped if I had actually remembered that, but as a surprise birthday, I don't think he actually said. I think they keep his age ambiguous. Disney horror movie. If the sell off, right, if Disney is going the route and it sells off its IPs and horror studios pick them up, I'm all for it. Like Darkwing Duck was a parody of Darkman, if you think about it. So you had something like that, or flipping Huey, Dewey, and Louie being like three psychos, Purge style. Even though I'm not a fan of that franchise, but they did something like that. That would be that'd be very awesome. But there's chances. There's a whole wealth of stuff out there. It's just the ones that don't overdo it. So if these get sort of spattered in with somebody who's an actual, I suppose, fan and has a vision and just wants to have a bit of fun. Now, I said the tone of this is dark. There is humor in this, but it's grim humor. So if that's not your cup of tea, you're not going to enjoy this movie. I'll put it like that. Obviously, my head's broke and I love stuff like this, so I'm good. So as per the trailer, if you watch it, this is, it goes through the kind of motions. We see Harley, we see a wee bit of family dynamic, not a happy family, so to speak. What's his older brother? Harley's got an older half brother. If that makes sense, because his mother married before, he's got a new husband. Harley's mom and dad, basically. But there's all this tension and stuff. Did it need it? I don't know. I don't think it did. Because this could have started off innocently enough. But they had to throw this kind of, there's problems with the family, or just sort of dark tension. And for the father character, they could have done without him. They could have just had him be the father character. They put this extra bit of plot onto it, and I don't really know if it added anything to the movie. I think, I don't think it added anything to the movie. Just he's there. They made him out to be such a way, and it almost felt like filler, because there's more than enough in this story and the stuff going on in the background to keep you engaged. They added that, but it just felt like an extra 3-4 minutes that we could have done without, chopped off. But there you go, just my opinion. If you do watch this movie, obviously, and you come to different, you have different opinion or different takes on it, love to hear it. That's what this whole thing's about. It's a conversation. Fun enough, nobody ever lies to watch the movie that I have. For some reason, I tend to watch a movie first and then somebody comes back later. Say the V. But there you go. So while this is going on, we'll go to the studio. I wonder where the hell they dug this studio up. This studio looks as if it's been abandoned. Like, it's proper grim. If you've seen Death to Smoochie, that's what you kind of expect. That sort of border and horror, that other stuff. But you want to see the sparkles of the studio as well, but it must have been a budgetary thing. But to go into this film studio, and I mean, it's grim. Car park's empty. There's one guy on it. Just everything looks as if it's run down. They're all queued up outside the door. They may as well be in a warehouse. And then when they're actually in there, what do you call those things? Bleachers that they have in sports. That I don't know what we call them. Americans call them bleachers, I think. But the rows of seats, they're busy sitting in those, and there's no flash or anything for the audience, and it's just all on the on camera. You see it in the trailer anyway. Yeah, but that is when you see more of that, it's grim. I mean, it's dark, dirty, empty, borderline depressing, if that makes sense. They set this whole scene up, and this is just. I think it's just a scummy company. I think it's just a cheap, something not right about it company, if that makes sense. I don't know if the company's on its last legs or just the leadership or what, but it just, you just instantly something's wrong. It's just not got that good feel about it. So there's the veneer of the TV show, the banana splits, and yeah, you think with an audience, and there's only a handful of them, that there'd be more of a buzz, but there isn't. It's like proper. Ugh. But we'll get to meet some of the cast anyway. And you have all these fans, you have these interesting folks that could only be. You've got the adult influencer who's a massive Banana Splits fan. In fact, this is Harley's trajectory to be a slutter dude, if that makes sense. Hamming up, they did a weird thing. He calls himself Daddy on the social app thing, and his girlfriend's there, but she calls him Daddy too, and they've got it that she looks a wee bit younger than him, just a wee bit too much, and it's really close to the knuckle, if that makes sense. I think there's a bit of a dark, twisted joke in there that you're like, oh god, right, okay. But it's important, it'll be relevant later. We'll have the family. The dad, what do you call him? Mitch, right? He is severely overacting. I've got to take a work call. I've got to do this. I've got to be on phone. No, I can't be without my phone. He really overacts that. We'll find out why later. But it's like, yeah, mate, you're making it so obvious. You might want to tone that down a bit. But it ends up where it ends up. It just seems it was unnecessary because there's plenty here when we meet the other cast members or the audience members who are invited to this showing. Now, everybody thinks that it's just another regular showing. And I don't know if the trailer gives us across, but as far as everyone's concerned taking part, nothing's changed. We'll see behind the scenes and we'll see some of the dirtbags get on and the usual show business type people, the people I never want to be or never really want to interact with. What a bunch of sleaze buckets, but you've got Andy Victorson. He was a producer in the show, and then within 5 minutes he's promoted to vice president, and then within 5 minutes he cancels the show. And it's all done in like some weird tirade. It's almost like revenge, if that makes sense. It's he just like, I'm the boss now, I'm canceling the show, no type thing. You're like, meh. So the reason the show gets cancelled, I think it would make more sense if this had been everyone was coming to see the last showing and end of an era sort of thing, and then the audience members would make a bit more sense that being so enthusiastic about it, they're at the end of an era, they're trying to stream, all their phones get taken off them at the start as well, plot device. Horror movies have to have it, so they're like, yeah, you have to hand your phone over, you get at the end, no broadcasting during whatever. Excuse me, sorry about that. That's a late one. Yeah, so that removes all the phones, so nobody can call for help. So it's the same as I mean, the only phone in the village has got the wire cut, or there's no phone in the village. It's just a modern trope now, and instead of nobody has a signal, it's how your phones get taken off you. So it's gotta get that out early because this could have been solved in about 5 minutes, I suppose. It makes sense. I mean, have to do something. So have a part of the thing that they take them all in. I think this was limited by budget because normally you go in, there'd be like a reception. If you're handing over a phone, there'd be like a, what do you call them things, like a wee rack, and you put them all in there. This they made a whole thing, putting them in the bags and then they'd be taken away. It's like, no, you don't do that. You hand a phone over, we get a receipt, so you can come back and get it later. It doesn't go into some unmarked bag to disappear and never be seen again. As we got me, but like I said, it's purely a plot device, so I can be forgiven of it. And like I said, they probably didn't have time to build. You can see where the money went with this. It went with the animatronics, and it went with the sets that they did build, and it went with the effects. So things like having a proper studio, with guests would have been a bit, would have stretched the budget. They made it look like a proper. Maybe I went with the theme of it. Made it like a proper cheap and nasty, run-down TV show. And then we get to see I can't remember his name, can't remember. The guy that basically maintains all these robots. He installs a new piece of software. He's using Windows DOS, so you can already see, once you see the Green Lantern and stuff, so he was going to screw up anyway. All he needed was a bump, the paper clip coming up. Looks like you're trying to update the software in your robots. Do you want them to be maniacal killers? And the wee yes and no. But this is even pre-Windows, like it's like a DOS operating, like BBC computer type things. So once you see that code in the Green Lantern, you're like, yep, we're all doomed. That's it. How did things ever run in that? It's amazing that we've got to this, where we are now. When you think that businesses, airlines, nuclear power plants run on those computers, just absolutely insane how that happened. And what would be considered the time of the... I used to make a joke that what would you call it? A personal organizer now has had more power, and this was 20 years ago, than one of the PCs back in the day. There's nothing even to compare it to, because it wouldn't even, like, a flash memory card in your phone has more memory than a lot of these PCs that used to run things. It's absolutely crazy, but it's fun to get that, because we've got this sort of look back in time, but then you've got modern mobile phones and people, being influencers and stuff. So it's like the old meets the new in that aspect. And that's actually quite cool. It worked, because it could have done it like back in time. They were sort of hinting at it. But no need. This worked. It didn't take away from anything. You got on board anyway and understood. We're in the modern world. This is a TV show. It's all of a sudden on its last legs. It's lasted so long, and many IPs out there have lasted 50 odd years. It's not unreasonable to think. But just as that announcement was made about it being cancelled, Drooper, the elephant one. So you've got Fleagle the Beagle, Bingo the Gorilla, Drooper the Lion, and Snorky the Elephant. Sorry, my apologies. So Drooper's the crazy looking lion with the glasses. I've only remembered clips of this. I don't think I've ever watched a full show. Like I said, it was before my time for a start, but also it was an American TV show, so we didn't get to see it until later on anyway. So there you go. I'm not going to go watch loads of episodes of the Banana Splits, because I really don't see the point. I was able to get the references and enjoy this movie as it was without having watched the show. And that's a good thing as well, because you don't have to have watched the show to get the sort of reference. It could have been anything, just the fact that they've used a known IP just made it a bit more fun. The story beats work the same. I don't think if you had to swap the banana splits out for generic unknown puppets, anything would have changed, because the storyline, the beats, and everything would have stayed the same. So there you go. This is just a wee sprinkling, and just I think it is for people my age and above who remember the banana splits, and then that wee bit of nostalgia, and then seeing it in a horror movie. That's exactly who it's aimed for, and I'm all on board with that. This is how you take something old and you put it in an alternate universe and you give it legs, because the audience for it's now grown up. So why not give it grown up material and just have a bit of fun with it? You're not oh, by the way, if anybody's childhood's destroyed by watching this, I don't know what to tell you. Don't go outside in strong breezes. You might blow over. It's just fun. In horror movie type way. If you're not a fan of horror movies, don't watch us. Simple. It's a horror movie, and even you can see it from the cover. You've enough warnings to know what it is. I'm just waiting for somebody to whine and go, I watch this again. I'm watching this and I'm disturbed. Blah 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 blah. Some Muppet's going to do it and try and get like an online petition or something daft like that. What on earth do you want to be a functional adult for? That's crap. You want to be an eternal child, watch cheesy horror movies, collect toys when you're pushing 50 and just still have fun. Yeah, stuff that functional adult business. You only do that. That's the bare minimum. Job, as long as you look after your house, feed yourself, clothe yourself, and whoever you're responsible for, crack on. But that's it. Apart from that, yeah, everything else is optional. There's too many out there that just become miserable brain dead husks and just don't know how to have a laugh or take a wee step in the dark side. There's plenty of those out there. Let them crack on. You know what I mean? And they can get to their 60s or 70s and just waiting for death because they don't know how to embrace life. I do not feel any sympathy for them. And if they want to look down their nose at me or people like me, crack on as well. Have fun with that. Because I genuinely don't care. Really don't. Because I enjoy life. And I can have a laugh. And I can watch cheesy stuff like this and just go with the flow. And don't have a twitch afterwards, none of that stuff. So who's winning? Just flip's sake. What I will complain about, it's a bit of a slow burner at the start. So because they're spending time setting up the whole family dynamics and setting up Mitch's character for no reason whatsoever, there's a bit of time wasted. They could have got this a lot quicker, but they do take their time before we get to the animatronics going wrong. And then what do we have? We'll have the banana splits and then their human friend Steve. Now, I don't know if this is a thing, because, like I said, I don't remember the banana splits. Sorry about that, going live, can't speak. I don't remember the show, so was there a human character? Was he called Steve? Possibly. I didn't do that in-depth research. I didn't feel the need, funny enough. I was able to enjoy the movie without it. But you use crack. Those who feel the need or have the answers, let me know, because it'd be just fun. But to have this guy Steve, and yeah, he's that children's television personality, that fake smile. Hey kids, and as an absolute sleazeball in the back, in the dressing room. There's this bit where this has all come about. The thing's starting to go wrong. And then with find out it's been cancelled. The starts going around the production crew, start passing around, and Steve's in his dressing room, which is also janitor cupboard, which I just thought was hilarious. So this guy is like proper up his own backside, thinks he's a star. He's sitting there with the dressing gown. We need you on set. I will be ready and I will deliver, as if he's a flipping Shakespearean actor. It's like, dude, sort of, and he's getting hammered as well. All the tropes and cliches that we've come to expect with children's TV presenters are all there bare, and I don't mind. It didn't. I was like, I'm not going, oh, I've seen this 100 times, because it was done in such a way that you're just like, yep, that fits, cool. The episode plays the minuscule audience. They should have got extras. I think they need more. That's the bit that could have done with a wee bit of hamming up, was the actual audience booth. A bit of tinsel, bit of cardboard. Make it look, like the edge of the ice rink. So you see in TV children's show, it's all covered in sparkles and that and bright. Not sitting in a bunch of like wooden bleacher things, in pure darkness, looking miserable as hell. That was a creepy. But if they had a hand at it, but put out a call for a few extras, you would have got the sense of this being a fun TV show. But because it didn't, and it looks so stark, that's why I'm saying it has a really dark, grim tone. Because even the people that are there, they're not colourful enough to fight against the setting. Because we've got a lot of hammed up, colourful characters. You've got a father who wants his daughter to be a star, wants to introduce her, that kind of stuff. You've your influencer. You've some other randos. In fact, I could have spent a bit of time with those. Made the audience a bit more. They spent too much time on Mitch and the family situation of the main character. We'd already got the idea of Harley. He's a super fan. He's at that awkward age where he doesn't want to let go. And it could have been a coming of age thing. So a bit less time spent on that, and it could have brightened up the audience a bit and put a bit more of them. I think that would have given more of the feeling. But what you're getting is this absolute grim. Like, you've got the facade in the front of the camera, but like me trying to act like I'm competent and confident in what I'm doing. You know what I mean? You've got the whole facade, and then when the camera's up, I'm like, I'm not getting enough YouTube views. No. But you know what I mean? What's presented on screen isn't necessarily what real life is. Good thing though, this is getting very introspective, which wasn't intended. But when you see the cast members, when you see actually the upper echelons, not so much. Everyone else is just doing their job. The child actor, the children's TV presenter, actor type persons in Alco just doesn't care and thinks he's above it all. Everyone else is just trying to hang on and do the job. They did well actually balance it out, because if they had made every cast member either a superhero or insufferable, you wouldn't have had any balance. But the fact that they made them ordinary, like even the guy at the gate, when they come in, he looked like he had that tired look of grumpy security guard. But he even did a wee bit when Harley was talking to him, who's your favourite banana split, blah, blah, blah. He kind of played along a bit. So that was cool, because not everyone in that, a lot of the movies paint people that do certain jobs out as just miserable, hating their life, etc., etc. Do you know what? Someone can be a security guard and actually enjoy it and get fulfillment. Someone can be, because they're a security guard at a thing that the field's got value, like the banana splits, and when a kid asks them, they actually get a bit of pleasure playing along, going, oh yeah, mine's a such and such, and it's brief moments. Why the hell not? That's humanity. Which makes it all a shame what happens later, but there you go. So anyway, this all kind of escalates, and Steve becomes the first victim, because then they go rogue, and this is where you get the whole tone of it because there's like this fake lollipop, and which one was it? I think it was the Beagle one. Just kind of goes yoink. How the hell that thing fitted in there? But they show the whole neck getting distended with a lollipop getting shoved, and that's instantly what you know what type of movie this is going to be and what type of horror. Where Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, they made that out to be a gritty slasher to be taken seriously. This is more in the lines of Evil Dead, or this is where the similarities to Willy's Wonderland is, because the kills and the violence is just over the top, cartoony, just splatter type stuff, and you're like, yep, okay, that's cool. Get where you're going with this. It's just got that, like I said, this grim, dark overtone, which is just makes it its own show. It didn't take me away, but it just made you aware of like you're watching something. You know, it's a particular aesthetic to it, which it worked then, because if you think of low budget movies and you're like, oh, well, that looks cheap, you realize because the setting this, it is cheap because it's a cheap company, and you know what I mean, it's a grim, flipping, not necessarily always a pleasant place to work type company, and that tone name works with the sets. God, there's this game to play, and it's like any kid show. You know, they're running and slime and climbing stuff, and the banana splits are throwing pies at them. They could have done something like that, but then it would have been ripping off Killer Clowns. So maybe not. There's an opportunity there to rip off Killer Clowns with the pies, but for later on. But they didn't take it. But yeah, Steve goes with a lollipop, and then that's when things start going wrong. You know, the vice president, he's next, I think, and then it's at the end of the show, the older brother, and this is another good one as well, because how many people are bored with pointless sibling rivalry in movies for them to come together later? This has the brothers actually looking out for each other. You know, there's family love there, and that's cool as well, because it actually plays out, because it's the older brother goes to the stagehand who's in charge, and just mentioned, because there's a thing about everyone ticket, if there are stars on it, you get to stay behind, meet the banana splits. If you don't, then sorry, that's it. You know, it's like a special prize, golden ticket type thing. He goes and gets Harley and the family. You know, he's like, look, it's my brother's birthday today, and he absolutely loves. He's a long time fan, so he gets that set up. So you see that wee bit of tenderness, which you don't see in too many modern movies. Like, it's like they hate the family at the moment. It's like all families have to be completely dysfunctional. I think maybe they put all their energies in the overplaying the Mitch character, which actually worked, because then they didn't spread out that hatred, you know, to everything else. So they focused on the Mitch character to make him bad, and then they kept the rest as a family unit, and the brothers weren't sniping at each other. So yeah, I got down with that. So him and his friend, oh, that was the other thing as well, because nobody turned up to his birthday party except one friend, and she didn't want to initially, because they say he's weird, he's creepy, because, you know, he's a brony, he's the equivalent of a brony. No, funnily enough, there's a mix. So you've got a fierce mother protective of her kids, and it brings out that human, but they're all human. So when they get beaten about, they get beaten about. It's not like action movies where they get kicked around 100 times and then just get up and shake it off as if nothing happened. Nah, this is horror. Horror doesn't do that. Horror likes to show a bit of lumps of bumps and grittiness, which works for me, especially when you get up against robot animatronic killing machines. You're not going to have, you know, when one of them thing smacks you or breaks your arm, you know, that stays that way. Because what would be the point? there has to be that frightening aspect. They have to be competent, or else there's no danger. Um, yeah. Then you get Thad, the what do you call it, the influencer one. They go and sneak off to have a look because she sneaked the phone in, so they sneak an extra phone, and they're doing a live stream of blah 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 blah, and then Flegel appears and just grabs him and puts him in a. He smashes the phone up as if it's a magic trick, and then he throws him in the sawn and half pit. You see the clip of it, part of it in the trailer anyway. Do you see that? But he had just proposed to Popeye, so that kind of answered that question whether it's his daughter or fiance. Like I said, it was a wee bit close to the knuckle, that one. I think they were doing it deliberately just to make it a bit weird, just to keep you on the edge of your seat without going too far. So that's the sort of dark humor you've got in this. So just to make you aware, if you don't understand it, it won't land. Doesn't mean you have to laugh at it, but you just have to get it. You know, it's not meant to make you laugh. It's meant to make you go, ugh. You know, it's that whole. That's what I love about horror movies. Horror movies play on all the emotions. So usually there's some sort of sex or titillation. Not appropriate with this one, so they left it out, which is cool. You know, because there's actual child actors involved, so having that and that wouldn't be appropriate. But you have that wee bit with those two, not over the top. You've got the laughter, and then you've got the grimy, gory stuff that makes you go one way 1 minute, and then you're like, oh, and then you're back, and that's the whole point. It's to sort of tweak you about a bit and make you feel something and get an experience from a movie. And if it's done right, you enjoy yourself. If it's done wrong, you're just like, oh god, no, never again. You know, that's kind of the way it works. But the kids all disappear. So basically, what they do is they start. There's our one, the guy that's trying to get his daughter, famous. He gets blowtorch to the face, with a aerosol can. It's like, I think that was. There's a bit of bad CGI in that, but it's only for a brief moment. You kind of see it, but then thankfully there are a few camera cuts. That could have taken me completely out of the movie, the CGI in that one. But thankfully, like I said, they did enough camera cuts, and then there was practical makeup afterwards, so that worked, and I can forgive it. But that's essentially what's happening: is they're wiping out all the parents and kidnapping the kids, and they find out that the guy that designed them did this deliberately. So I thought something went wrong. You're led to believe something went wrong, and he's as much of a prisoner, but it turns out he's actually complicit because he found out they were cancelling the show. He just happened to have had this pre-written bit of code ready just in case. So this guy's an absolute Fruit Loop. Here, I have the destruction code just in case I ever get cancelled because shows run forever. Kind of shows sort of mental people that work in TV. No interest in doing it. Couldn't even, even growing up, I had no interest in TV. See terrestrial TV, no interest. It was the biggest pile of crap ever. Even shows that are iconic, people remember. Doesn't mean they were good. Just pumped out and recognizable. But that whole world and stuff that's come out recently, obviously with TV channels and presenters and stuff, you're just like, oh god, no. You couldn't pay me enough to be involved in that world. I'll just stick to the YouTube channel, thanks very much. And no interest in it. I think that's the way a lot of people actually are switching off and not bothering, because this might be parody, but it's not. It's quite close to the knuckle as to the whole situation. The sort of people that work in TV. Maybe they're the ones that shouldn't be. Let's just put it like that. There's quite a high percentage there. Shouldn't work in TV and definitely shouldn't work in children's TV. Let's just leave it at that. And we kind of see examples here. But it all ramps up, goes on, and then it gets it. Yeah, all the kids are kidnapped. They're chained to the flipping bleachers, and they're forced to watch the banana splits replaying out their TV show. So it turned out audience members that were let off were taken care of, all in the corridor, piled up, and you're like, oh, okay then, see where this is going, because the ones that are kidnapped the kids. It's amazing how quickly this all happened in terms of timescale between the announcement being made that it was being cancelled just before they're about to go on, and all this. That's kind of a frightening thing in itself. And then the boy out. This is where you know this is messed up, because they're playing for the kids, and then it's Stevie, and the wheel out Stevie and his tricycle thing, and he's still dead. And then they act as if he's there, and the kids are all screaming in that. Fair play to the child actors in this, I have to say. I don't know. There's obviously a lot of camera cuts, because I don't think they're even like playing out in the studio. I don't think the kids were actually watching this take place. I think they were watching the screen, then they're told, okay, here's a scary thing, do it. And then the camera cut was, it was done in a different take, I think, because there's no way that would be too much, even for me. Even I'd be going, hang on a minute, I don't think that's quite appropriate. Let's not do that. But there you go, this plays out. So they're being forced to watch all this stuff. What is it? The elephant one. Harley actually manages to Snorky, manages to talk Snorky around to being on their side. So Snorky brings him in, chains him up, but gives him the key so he can free everybody. Meanwhile, the mother's like, right, let's go free these people, and just like, she's not a superhero, but she's like, protect the mother, and does that, and she's still just as valuable. There's two of them made to actually do the obstacle course the kids were done and all stuff. Like I said, looking on, I don't want to spoil it, obviously, and like give every plot detail. I've already went on long enough for this. But they're creative, the kills are creative. The descent into madness, or their logic centers, completely fran out, was cool. Then Poppy was an interesting one. Think Terrifier, and think Cheryl's character going completely batshit. That's Poppy's one. And then she finds a costume for the 5th banana split that they were creating, and she kind of takes that as her mantle, and then sort of sets up for a sequel. But yeah, it's a slasher movie. There's nothing deep or thought provoking or that sort of thing. It's just a fun, daft, really dark. I have to emphasize it's dark comedy. So if you're expecting like belly laughs, you won't. It's not that sort of movie. It's like proper. There's a grim undertone that just you're laughing, then you sort of chastise yourself, going, "No, I shouldn't be laughing at this," but I'm going to anyway. That's the sort of comedy here. It works. Mitch disappears for a bit. You think he's gone, then he appears at the end. It turns out he's having an affair, but if he didn't go on after the first 5 minutes of got to ring you up, always on the phone, can't be away for a minute. It's like, yeah, I've seen that done 100 times. But thankfully he's not enough to take away from anything else. So by focusing all our efforts on him and making him that sort of character, they've kind of left everybody else alone, like I said. So that's cool. Rainbow. Yeah, Rainbow. That would be mental. And somebody really gnarly to play Jeffrey. And what would Bungle would just be like Cocaine Bear. That would be Bungle just Zippy would have to do something that Zip and make it gnarly. What would George would have to wear leather gear. You'd have to wear like a leather, that leather friggin' chest thing BDSM type people wear. George would have to be wearing that and like have a really sick sense of humor. Would Rod, Jane, and Freddie guest appear? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, Jeffrey would have to be the old pervert, without a doubt. Like, disgusted, gnarly, like a homeless person. Jeffrey would have to look like a homeless person, wearing rags and stuff. Yeah, that would be fun to do and fun to watch. Oh, that was the other thing I forgot right before I sign off. Uh, the use of the Banana Splits theme tune throughout this film was brilliant. It was really clever. So the la 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 la, they do that, but they obviously make it horror based. They change the tone. They have it like an echo. They have it sort of at the kills and stuff. They're really clever with this. That was cool. So it adds that kind of flavor to it, and then that's what kind of takes it away from just being a generic puppet killer movie. Because they use the theme tune and they use it so well. Fair play to them. I enjoyed this. Definitely did. Once again, I would not compare it to Willy's Wonderland. They're two different beasts. The only similarities is animatronic. But that's like comparing every killer doll movie. They're all, what I mean, they're not all the same. So you got to just be careful, I think, when you're watching it. Oh, that has that one element. I think it's exactly the same movie. Now, some movies are rip-offs, yes. Some are carbon copies, yes, but not all. So you kind of have to take each bit on its own merit. But yeah, really enjoyed it. And like I said, if you've watched it, or if you do watch it after this, let me know what you think. And yeah, let's have the conversation. So, action. God, I forgot their name. I've got guests on Saturday. We're going to talk about Cthulhu Dreamt. It's a new RPG game coming out with like a heavy metal soundtrack, sort of mashed up and playing with that. And Dale and I are covering Bad Taste this Thursday. That's going to be fun. What else have we got coming up? I haven't scheduled it, but we'll have the Horrorific talk spot. Haven't said we were going to watch it because I was going to do the last voyage of the Demeter, but thanks to screwing up stuff. But I'll bitch about it during the stream. There'll be a lot of bitching about it, and I have a few articles to share about that, what happened. So we'll go through that. Yeah, I say the end of the month. That's only flipping them like a week and a half away. Not even. The Sunday's the last Sunday of the month. God, flipping time's flying. Yeah, a week and a half. The month's over. Holy crap, time is flying. We're all getting that bit closer to death, aren't we? Right, on that happy note, yeah, plenty going on. September's starting to get filled up now as well, so we have a few things going on there too. So go up to the channel, do the typey thingy things, and until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.